Hello viewers, welcome to our channel Career Prep. In this video, we learn about the topic calendars. Calendars is one of the easiest chapters to understand in reasoning. Calendars is one of the most important topics for government sector entrance exams like UPSC, SBI PO and Clerk, IBPS PO and Clerk, RRB PO and Clerk, SSC, etc. Questions which come from this section are usually very easy to solve if you know the key concepts. Before we begin, please subscribe to our channel. Also press the bell icon to get notifications as soon as we post a new video. So let's start. So what is a calendar? A calendar is a chart or series of pages showing the days, weeks and months of a particular year. A calendar consists of 365 or 366 days divided into 12 months. To solve problems based on calendars, it's essential to have a basic understanding of a few concepts. So here are a few points to remember. Day. Day is the smallest unit of the calendar. It has 24 hours. Week. A week has 7 days. They are Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and Saturday. Month. There are 12 months in a year. They are January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November and December. A month has 28 or 29 or 30 or 31 days. Year. Year is the time taken by the earth to make one revolution around the sun. A year has 12 months and there are 52 complete weeks in a year. Date. In general, date is a name given to each day. For example, 1st, 15th, 22nd, etc. That is, supposing you say 1st April, here 1st is the date. It means the first day of April. Similarly, 15th August means 15th day of um, the month August. Here 15th is the date and so on. Century. A block of 100 years is called a century. Ordinary year. An ordinary year is a year which has 365 days. An ordinary year has 52 complete weeks plus one extra day which makes it 365 days. Ordinary years are not divisible by 4. For example, 1879, 2009, 2019, etc. are all ordinary days because they are not divisible by 4. Leap year. A leap year is a year which has 366 days. The extra day is 29th of February. So a leap year has 52 complete weeks plus 2 extra days, which makes it 366 days. Leap years are exactly divisible by 4. For example, 2012, 2016, 2020, etc. are all leap years because they are divisible by 4. To solve problems based on calendars, a basic understanding of a few concepts like odd days, ordinary year, leap year, etc. is essential. So first, let's learn about odd days. In a given period, the number of days more than the complete weeks are called odd days. To find the number of odd days, you have to divide that particular number by 7 because 7 days make a complete week. So when you divide the number by 7, the quotient will give you the um number of complete weeks, and the remainder will give you the number of odd days for that particular period. For example, let's find the number of odd days in 10 days. So you have to divide 10 by 7. Now 10 divided by 7 will give 1 as the quotient and 3 as the remainder. So 10 days has 1 complete week plus 3 odd days. Similarly, let's find out the number of odd days in 16 days. So 16 divided by 7 will give 2 as the quotient and 2 as the remainder, which means 16 days has 2 complete weeks and 2 odd days. Similarly, for 28 days, divide 28 by 7. 28 divided by 7 will give 4 as the quotient and 0 as the remainder, which means in 28 days there are 4 weeks and 0 odd days. Let's now learn about leap years. A leap year has 366 days. The extra day is 29th of February. So a leap year has 52 complete weeks plus 2 extra days, which makes it 366 days. A leap year is divisible by 4 except for a century. For a century to be a leap year, it must be divisible by 400. For example, the years like 1988, 2008, 1676 are leap years because they are divisible by 4. Now years like 2001, 2002, 2003, 2005, 2017 are not leap years because they are not divisible by 4. Now centuries like 2000, 2400 are leap years because they are divisible by 400. But centuries like 1700, 1800 are not leap years because they are not divisible by 400. Every fourth century is a leap year and no other century is a leap year. For example, 2000, 2400 are leap years. But the other centuries like 2100, 2200, 2300 are not leap years. So every fourth century is a leap year, but the other centuries are not leap years. The other centuries, although divisible by 4, are not leap years. Only a century divisible by 400 is a leap year. For example, consider the century 1700. Now, although 1700 is divisible by 4, it is not a leap year because 1700 is not divisible by 400. Only centuries divisible by 400 is a leap year. So, 1700 is not a leap year. Same is the case with the century 1800. Hope you have understood the concept of a leap year. Let's now learn about ordinary years. The year which is not a leap year is called an ordinary year. An ordinary year has 365 days. So an ordinary year has 52 complete weeks plus 1 extra day, which makes it 365 days. There are 28 days in February in an ordinary year. Let's now learn about the concept of counting of odd days. Now, this is a very important concept because Only if you know how to count the number of odd days will you be able to solve problems on calendars. So let's be thorough with this concept. Let's now learn about the concept of counting of the number of odd days. Number of odd days in an ordinary year. Now we know that one ordinary year has 365 days. Now to find the number of odd days, you have to divide 365 by 7. When you divide 365 by 7, the quotient will give you the number of weeks and the remainder will be the number of odd days. So 365 divided by 7 will give 52 as the quotient and 1 as the remainder, which means one ordinary year has 52 weeks and one odd day. So one ordinary year has one odd day. Number of odd days in a leap year. Now one leap year has 366 days. 366 divided by 7 gives 52 as the quotient and 2 as the remainder, which means the leap year has 52 weeks and 2 odd days. So one leap year has 2 odd days. So remember that one ordinary year has one odd day, one leap year has 2 odd days. Number of odd days in a century. Now 1 century is equal to 100 years. Now to find the number of odd days in 100 years, first you have to know how many ordinary years and how many leap years are there in 100 years. To do that, divide 100 by 4. The quotient will give you the number of leap years in 100 years. So when you divide 100 by 4, you will get 25 as the quotient. But observe here that the 100th year is not a leap year because it's not divisible by 400. So we do not have 25 leap years in 100 years, but instead we have 24 leap years in 100 years. We have 24 leap years in 100 years because the 100th year is not a leap year. So there are 24 leap years in 100 years. The remaining years are the ordinary years. So in 100 years, we have 76 ordinary years and 24 leap years. Now we know that one ordinary year has one odd day. Now since there are 76 ordinary years, it means 76 multiplied by 1. We know that one leap year has two odd days. Since there are 24 leap years, it means 24 multiplied by 2. So we have 76 multiplied by 1 plus 24 multiplied by 2 odd days in 100 years. Now when you add these, you get 124 odd days. But the number of odd days has to be less than 7. So divide 124 by 7. 124 divided by 7 will give 17 as the quotient and 5 as the remainder. The quotient is the number of weeks and the remainder is the number of odd days. So 124 divided by 7 will give 17 weeks plus 5 days. These 5 days are the odd days. So number of odd days in 100 years is 5. Number of odd days in 200 years. Now we know that number of odd days in 100 years is 5. So number of odd days in 200 years would be 5 multiplied by 2, which is 10 odd days. Now 10 divided by 7 will give us 1 as quotient and 3 as remainder, which means we have 1 week plus 3 odd days. So number of odd days in 200 years is 3. Number of odd days in 300 years. We know that the number of odd days in 100 years is 5. So number of odd days in 300 years would be 5 multiplied by 3, which is 15 odd days. 15 divided by 7 gives us 2 as the quotient and 1 as the remainder, which means there are 2 weeks and 1 odd day. So number of odd days in 300 years is 1. Number of odd days in 400 years. We know that number of odd days in 100 years is 5. So number of odd days in 400 years is 5 multiplied by 4. But since the 400th year is a leap year, and we know that a leap year has one extra day, we have to add one extra day here. So number of odd days in 400 years would be 5 multiplied by 4 plus 1, which is 21 odd days. 21 divided by 7 would give us the quotient as 3 and remainder as 0. So we have 3 weeks in, so we have 3 weeks and number of odd days is 0. So number of odd days in 400 years is 0. So number of odd days in 100 years is 5. Number of odd days in 200 years is 3. Number of odd days in 300 years is 1. Number of odd days in 400 years is 0. Similarly, each one of the 800 years, 1200 years, 1600 years, 2000 years, etc. have 0 odd days. Be perfectly clear with this concept of counting of number of odd days. This will help you while solving problems on calendars. Let's move on to the next concept, which is day of the week related to odd days. So if number of odd days is 0, then the day will be Sunday. If the number of odd days is 1, then day is Monday. Number of odd days is 2, day is Tuesday. The number of odd days is 3, it's Wednesday. Number of odd days is 4, it's Thursday. Number of odd days is 5, it's Friday. Number of odd days is 6, it is Saturday. Remember and be perfect with this table. This concept is especially used in calendar problems where you have to find the day of the given date where no other reference date is given. So be thorough with this concept. The next concept is number of odd days in each month. Now you know that there are 12 months in a year: January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November and December. These are the number of days in each of the months. Now let's find the number of odd days in each month. Now January has 31 days. Now to find the number of odd days in January, divide 31 by 7. The remainder will give you the number of odd days in January. So 31 divided by 7 gives 3 as the remainder, which means January has 3 odd days. February has 28 days in an ordinary year. 28 divided by 7 gives 0 as the remainder, which means February has 0 odd days in an ordinary year. February has 29 days in a leap year. 29 divided by 7 gives 1 as the remainder, which means February has 1 odd day in a leap year. So February has 0 odd days in an ordinary year, whereas it has 1 odd day in a leap year. March has 31 days. 31 divided by 7 gives 3 as the remainder, which means March has 3 odd days. April has 30 days. 30 divided by 7 gives 2 as the remainder, which means April has 2 odd days, and so on for the other months. Now, as you can see from this table, you'll see that the months having 31 days will have 3 odd days. The months having 30 days will have 2 odd days. Now, February is an exceptional case. It has 0 odd days in an ordinary year because February has 28 days in an ordinary year. It has 1 odd day in a leap year because February has 29 days in a leap year. Be very thorough with this table. This concept is used while solving most of the problems in calendars. The next concept is how to find the number of odd days in each century. Now we know that in 100 years there will be 5 odd days. In 200 years, 3 odd days. 300 years, 1 odd day. And 400 years, 0 odd day. Now from 500 years onwards, we have to first subtract the nearest century leap year from the given year. Then find the number of odd days for that answer. For example, if we take 500 years, the nearest century leap year would be 400. So 500 minus 400 is 100. Now we know that in 100 years there are 5 odd days, which means in 500 years also there will be 5 odd days. Similarly, if we take 600 years, the nearest century leap year here would be 400. So 600 minus 400 is 200, and we know that in 200 years there will be 3 odd days. So 600 years also has 3 odd days. Similarly for 700 and 800. Now when we when we come to 900 years, the nearest century leap year for 900 years would be 800 years. So when we have to find the number of odd days for 900 years, we have to subtract 800 from 900. So 900 minus 800 is 100. We know that in 100 years there are 5 odd days, which means 900 years also has 5 odd days. Similarly, for 1000 years, the nearest century leap year would be 800. So 1000 minus 800 is 200, and we know that in 200 years there are 3 odd days, which means in 1000 years also there will be 3 odd days. Now when you look at this table, you will see that the cycle of number of odd days repeats after every 4 centuries. As you can see here, in the first 4 centuries, the number of odd days is 5, 3, 1 and 0 respectively. And for the next 4 centuries, again, the number of odd days are 5, 3, 1 and 0. And for the next 4 centuries, again it is 5, 3, 1, 0. As you can see, the cycle of number of odd days repeats after every 4 centuries. Now here, the number of odd days is 5, and we know that 5 means Friday. So the last day of the first century would be Friday. In 200 years, the number of odd days is 3, and we know that 3 is Wednesday, which means the last day of the second century would be Wednesday. In 300 years, there is 1 odd day, and we know that 1 means Monday. So the last day of the third century would be Monday. 400 years has 0 odd days, and we know that 0 means Sunday. So the last day of the 4th century would be Sunday. Now, after 4 centuries, the number of odd days repeats. So again, for the next 4 centuries, again we have 5, 3, 1, 0 odd days, which means the day of the week also repeats and would be Friday, Wednesday, Monday and Sunday for the next 4 centuries. As you can see here from this table, the cycle of number of odd days repeats after every 4 centuries, and hence the days at which the century ends also repeats after every 4 centuries. The order of repetition will always be Friday, Wednesday, Monday and Sunday. So a century will always end on either Friday, Wednesday, Monday or Sunday, which means a century will never end on Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. Be very thorough with this concept. This will help you to while solving problems on calendars. The next concept is last day of a year. Now the concept of last day of a year is different for an ordinary year and a leap year. So first let's learn about the concept of last day of an ordinary year. Now an ordinary year has 365 days, that is 52 complete weeks plus one odd day. Now let's consider an example. Let's suppose that the first day of the first week of an ordinary year is a Monday. That is 1st January is a Monday. Let's suppose that 1st January is a Monday. Then the last day of that week would be Sunday. Now, since the last day of the first week is a Sunday, it clearly means the first day of the second week would be Monday and the last day of the second week would be Sunday. Now, since there are 52 complete weeks in an ordinary year, this repeats for the 52 weeks of the ordinary year. So, for each of the 52 weeks of the ordinary year, uh, the first day of the week would be Monday and the last day of the week would be Sunday. Now, an ordinary year has one odd day, and that odd day would be the last day of the year, that is 31st December. Now here we have seen that the last day of the 52nd week was a Sunday. So this odd day would be Monday. So here from this example you can see that the last day of the year, that is 31st December, is a Monday, and the first day of the year, that is 1st January, is also a Monday. So clearly from this example, you can understand that in an ordinary year, last day of the year is the same as the first day of the year. Now, observing this example, we come to know that in an ordinary year, last day of the year is the same as first day of the year. First day appears 53 times. Look at this example. Here we have assumed that the first day is a Monday and this Monday appears for 52 weeks of the ordinary year. Now, an ordinary year has one odd day and that odd day is Monday. So, Monday appears 52 plus 1, that is 53 times in an ordinary year. So this means that the first day appears 53 times in an ordinary year. Now, from the given example, you can see that each of the remaining days Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday appear 52 times. So in an ordinary year, last day of the year is the same as the first day of the year. The first day appears 53 times and each of the remaining days appears 52 times. Hope you have understood this concept of last day of the year in the case of an ordinary year. Let's now understand the concept of last day of a leap year. Now we know that a leap year has 366 days, that is 52 complete weeks plus 2 odd days. Now let's consider an example. If the first day of the first week of a leap year is a Monday, that is, let's suppose the 1st January is a Monday, then the last day of that week would be Sunday. Now, if the last day of the first week is Sunday, then clearly the first day of the second week would be Monday and the last day of the second week would be Sunday. Now, since the leap year has 52 complete weeks, this repeats for the 52 weeks of the leap year. That is, for 52 weeks, the first day of the uh, week is Monday and the last day of the week is Sunday. Now, a leap year has 2 odd days and these 2 odd days would be the last 2 days of the leap year. Now, here we know that the last day of the 52nd week was Sunday. So, these last 2 days of the leap year clearly would be Monday and Tuesday. That is, 30th December would be Monday and 31st December would be Tuesday. So clearly here you can see that the last day of the leap year, that is 31st December, is Tuesday and the first day of the leap year, that's 1st January, is Monday. Here you can see that Monday plus 1 is Tuesday, which means the last day of a leap year is equal to the first day of the year plus 1. So, in a leap year, last day of the year is equal to first day of the year plus 1. Now, observing this example, it's clear that in a leap year, the last day of the year is equal to first day of the year plus 1. Also, the first and second day appear 53 times. Now, as you can see in this example, the first day is Monday, second day is Tuesday, and this repeats for 52 weeks. That is, Monday and Tuesday appear 52 times in a leap year. And since the leap year has 2 days, 2 odd days, these 2 odd days would be Monday and Tuesday. So you can see here that Monday and Tuesday appears 52 plus 1, that is 53 times in a leap year. So clearly from this example, you can see that the first and second day appear 53 times in a leap year. And when you observe this example, you can see that each of the remaining days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, appear 52 times. So each of the remaining days appear 52 times in a leap year. So clearly you can understand that in a leap year, last day of the year is equal to first day of the year plus 1. First and second day appears 53 times. Each of the remaining days appear 52 times. So here understand the difference between the last day of the concept of the last day of a year for an ordinary year and a leap year. In a leap year, the last day of the year is equal to first day of the year plus 1. In an ordinary year, the last day of the year is equal to the first day of the year. In a leap year, the first and second day appears 53 times. In an ordinary year, the first day appears 53 times. In a leap year, each of the remaining days appears 52 times. And in an ordinary year also, each of the remaining days appears 52 times. Hope you have understood this concept. The next concept that we have to understand is about day gain or loss. Now the concept of day gain or loss is different for an ordinary year and for a leap year. First, let's learn about the concept of day gain or loss for an ordinary year. Now, for an ordinary year, when we proceed forward by 1 year, then 1 day is gained. For example, 9th August 2013 is Friday. Then 9th August 2014 has to be Friday plus 1, that is Saturday. Now when we move backward by 1 year, then 1 day is lost. For example, 24th December 2013 is Tuesday. Then 24th December 2012 has to be Tuesday minus 1, that is Monday. Now let's understand the concept of day gain or loss for a leap year. Now when we proceed forward by 1 leap year, then 2 days are gained. For example, if it is Wednesday on 25th December 2011, then it would be Wednesday plus 2, that is Friday, on 25th December 2012, because 2012 is a leap year. When we move backward by 1 leap year, then 2 days are lost. For example, if it is Wednesday on 18th December 2012, then it would be Wednesday minus 2, that is Monday, on 18th December 2011, because 2012 was a leap year. Now there's an exception to this rule. Understand the exception very clearly. Now the day must have crossed 29th February for adding 2 days. If it has not crossed 29th February, then you have to add only 1 day. Let's understand this exception with the help of examples. Now, if 26th January 2011 is Wednesday, then 26th January 2012 would be Wednesday plus 1, that is Thursday. Now here, even though 2012 is a leap year, only 1 day has been added because 29th February has not been crossed. Now look at this example. If 23rd March 2011 is Wednesday, then 23rd March 2012 would be Wednesday plus 2, that is Friday. Here 2 days have been added because 29th February of the leap year is crossed. Viewers, please go through this video till you have understood the concept. A thorough knowledge of the concept will help you in answering questions correctly on this topic. Also, please do watch our video on calendars, types of questions. If you have liked this video, please like, subscribe and share this video. Thank you.